The Riley Gaines bill was just voted on to invoke cloture to proceed with the Protection of Girls in Sports Act. The vote was 51 to 45. It failed to receive the 60% vote threshold to avoid filibuster. It had already passed the House.
Okay.
So I believe that means it's voted down, right? I think so.
Yeah, if it doesn't have 60 votes, then it doesn't get past a filibuster in the Senate. Trish says, how about that Fetterman?
Yeah, he voted against the girls in this one.
Well, I understand they're all afraid of their own party, like how Seth Moulton got all yelled at by them and stuff. But I understand they're all afraid, but just like on a common sense level, how can you not want to protect women in women's spaces and in women's sports? It seems like the most obvious, easy answer.
And it is amazing because they absolutely the quickest Sue O'Connell study of the subject will put you on the right side of the argument.
Of course.
Muscle mass, the organ size, lung capacity, all that stuff.
Yeah, bone density. I mean, like, there's 1,000 things. I mean, men have different grip strength than women. Significantly different. There's all kinds of ways in which men are physically different from women. I believe, honestly, we've probably only scratched the surface of understanding the physical ways in which men are different from women, because we don't understand all that much about the human body beyond the like blanket mechanics of stuff. There's so much we still don't know in scientific terms about how the body works and what makes someone better at something than somebody else, and what's dangerous for women, particularly in some of these sports. But we've talked about this. The Democrats have managed to like choose the wrong side of every 80-20 issue.
Yes.
And double down on it.
Well, yeah, and you see, like, there's that video yesterday of the male runner jumper who jumped 8 feet farther than the woman's record ever, but he's running against the women, so he's going to win all sorts of stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing just to see this stuff. And yes, of course, it took, because we were captured, because the country's stupid, in that George Floyd is a drug addict who's a punk and thug, had to not comply with cops for 20 minutes. And because then COVID, and because people are scared because Trump, even though all the people who telling you Trump was Hitler were partying with him just a few years ago, because we're stupid, then we got hit with this hysteria, and we decided that, we have to affirm everything that anybody ever wants to believe about themselves to show just how compassionate we are. So, yes, Caitlyn Jenner, okay, I'll call her Caitlyn, okay. And when they told us back then, they said, no, it's not okay to call her Caitlyn. You have to really like that she's Caitlyn. You have to call her she, and you have to go along with it. And everything's on a spectrum. And Bill Nye, who, by the way, should be in jail for life, Bill Nye said, we now know that assigned gender at birth in our kids' health class, assigned all this stupid-ass stuff, people know it's not true, but people believed that out of compassion, they had to indulge this idiocy. And they don't anymore. It's a lot like the popularity of Zelensky. 2 years ago, we were all in, including, I think you and I were all in. They're like, wow, what an incredible thing. And now he looks like and sounds like the guy who stole Liam Neeson's daughter. And that's it. And I got a much bigger laugh from Tim and Canton today than from you. But then again, it's a difference. But so these particular cultural fads, it's just gone. It's going away, and you can say right now and run around and tell me that the world's eye is on Tiger King, but it's not true. And as a matter of fact, unbelievably, the Tiger King was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Can you believe that, by the way? I was thinking about that. We're almost exactly 5 years, half a decade from COVID happening.
Right. Exactly. You know what? What's even more unbelievable is, I wanted to mention this the other day, and I love this. By the way, Fire Festival is coming back.
Yeah, I know that.
Billy Whatever is doing it again.
Like we talked about that. But
did we? Or
maybe we didn't.
Maybe who the freak knows? We don't know. No. Okay. I'm all for that. I think that's fantastic. I would pardon him if I was the president. And I would want him to rip off a whole new 1,000 marketing DBs from Manhattan, and then I pardon him again. So, I think one of the situations now, it's so bad now, with the left acting this silly. It's so bad now that they've scared away a huge chunk of their constituency. These people aren't going to wear MAGA hats, but they're not interested in what you have to say anymore, which is why they've gone away from MSNBC. They've gone away from a lot of their media, and they're sick, and they're not. The Democrats stuff is not working.
Well, yeah, and they probably kind of mostly want to vote Democrat,
right?
But you've made this party so untenable, and the list of things you have to believe is so long and so insane, or you're the enemy and they're kicking you out, that almost nobody wants to put up with that. They're deliberately shrinking the tent of their party and making it a less open party. There's no room for coalition building. There's no room for common ground on issues where they don't have like a majority view. They're like, oh yeah, we can always compromise on tax policy, but not on women's rights, not on trans rights. This stuff's life and death. Okay, well, go for it then. Like pick the most unpopular positions in America. Really, I think the only issue where the GOP doesn't have a total popular opinion advantage is abortion, which is why they try and make everything into an abortion discussion. But they are so choosing unpopularity. And yeah, like the Senate Democrats unanimously vote for this stuff that's hugely unpopular nationally. They are out of their minds. They have shown zero interest in backtracking or becoming a more popular party so far.
You're
and
absolutely
anything could
right.
change.
And there are a few who have not lost their minds, who have not turned into zombies, who have said, we can't do this. And it's not just James Carville. He's been saying it for a while. But also, you've got these two young reporters from the New York Times who put together this video. I can't get it on the paywall, so we won't be able to hear it. But all this is a compilation saying, are Democrats doing the right thing to resist? And it's showing these wacky people be psychos, and Stephen Colbert and all the other screaming psychos in the streets and the people singing.
Well, and the biggest problem for them is that they've decided to not only say we're going to take the most unpopular positions that we can find politically in America today, but they're like yelling and screaming at anybody who holds the opposite position, and they refuse to believe that could possibly be a majority of the people, right? Like, so they're going around out here, and we see a lot of these people, and especially in places we played on our Patreon show last night, some of the Vermont protester people protesting J.D. Vance, and we live in Massachusetts, so we see and hear a lot of these people in real life and on Facebook and wherever. They are so delusional, like the person in Vermont who said, like, the whole country's going to be out here protesting after what Trump did to Zelensky.
Yes.
Like, how is everyone not seeing? And they're like welcoming us back to their party with open arms if we regret our vote. Like, I don't want to be in your party, and I have zero regrets for my vote. But they haven't even bothered to find out that these are unpopular positions. And anyone who tries to tell them that they're unpopular positions, they refuse to believe it. So they're like just digging the hole deeper. And until somebody starts to listen to anybody on their team or who wants them to occasionally win things again, until they start to listen and take serious positions. But this has been going on for a while. They've been alienating left-wingers for a while. You and I listen to some of the people that they've managed to alienate. Obviously, like on the trans issue, Jesse Singal was a big one that, started to write critically about some of the gender dysphoria stuff that was cropping up, where it wasn't kids that had it since they were kids, and was taking a very reasonable position of like, maybe we should slow down on diagnosing some of these kids if it seems to come on really quickly, and immediately got called like a transphobe and a Nazi and a bigot and death threats and every other thing. Like, they are so angry if anyone suggests that their positions are not mainstream. And they continue to move more out of the mainstream of the American viewpoint. Like, every day, they become more extreme.
Yeah, they continue to do it. I was trying to find it that, I think a great example is the Michael Knowles thing, the Surrounded thing he did, where the big black dude from him said, "You don't speak over a black trans woman. You don't speak over a black trans woman."
Yeah.
There's so many layers when you see that of, okay, something's very, very broken here, that you don't even know where to start. But here's my latest example, is that they're making a superstar out of this person.
So, unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
That's Jasmine Crockett.
We know you don't understand what's
She's
going on,
literally
so.
being touted as the superstar of the party. Somebody to run for president. I don't know if she's old enough. I think she's fairly attractive. But okay, if that's what you want to do, that brand that is that right there is not good right now.
Of course it's not.
It is not. Of
course it's not. Neither is the big trans woman who thinks she's a guy turning the chair around with Ben Shapiro and saying,
right.
"You don't even think that guys like me exist." It's like, no, we're all aware that you exist.
I literally, Alice, and I say this, I'm being serious right now. I literally have seen people suggesting that since what's his name? Tim Walz now is saying that he may run as well, speculating that
Can
Walz.
you believe he believed his own hype?
That Crockett Walz, in that order, might be a good ticket.
Does he have a fetish? Like, what is the issue?
I don't know. It is amazing to me, and I hope it does happen.
Mind your own damn business.
That would be by far the most diverse ticket we've ever had.
Yes.
Because you'd have a young black woman and a old closeted gay man. Like you're checking some boxes big time right there. But it's like, I don't think.
But like, that's what's crazy to me. It's like Tim Walz believes, like I said, his own hype. He believes all the people that were saying he was America's dad and America's football coach and that everyone loved him and he was awesome and so popular and they had a hugely popular
You think he believed
ticket.
it?
I think he believes that they had a hugely popular ticket and he was a big part of the energy behind that and everyone loves him in America.
You know, Alice, that's a great
and
point.
his wife is telling, and his dumb children are telling him that America loved him because all their friends
have played along.
So everyone.
Yeah, that's a real man. Okay, Dad. See you after you're done hunting.
But they're like, I think politicians, like, that's where it gets dangerous is when you start believing all the people that are blowing smoke, because people will do that to you if you're a politician and they think you can raise some money and pay them with it to consult for you or whatever. There are no shortage of people running around in politics telling other people they'd be amazing and should run for this, should run for that, should run for whatever. Like, you can find a never-ending supply of them.
Oh, yes.
They're willing to come and tell you whatever it is that you want to hear. So if you start to believe people like that, and you believe all the hype and all the TikTokers saying that Tim Walz is like the greatest guy ever. You remember the SNL sketch where they had Tim Kaine come out and ask the guy to remember his name? And he couldn't remember his name. And he's like, yeah, but that was a boring, forgettable candidate. Not like Tim Walz, who's so charismatic. Like, but they think that. Like, the people that opt into believing that Tim Walz is like a really incredible, great candidate and wasn't this such an amazing, magical campaign that happened. And, you know, the more cynical adult people know that it's all faked. All the coconut tree stuff is just faked to create fake energy, and that this was one of the most terrible campaigns ever. But if you
I have
start
white guy tacos and
What is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
I'm
here's-
too stupid.
Like I have white guy tacos.
I'm too stupid to
and
put
What is
in
that?
flavor.
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal.
It sucks. It's really, it's the worst casserole. It's the worst food that you've ever had. And I have no ideas. I'm out of ideas. I can't make it not the worst thing everybody around has ever eaten. It's depressing. My neighbor shot himself after he had a bite of it. Why, you put anything in? No, I hate to disappoint the can. I'm sure you do. I mean,
But
the
they're really-
self-flagellation too. I mean, the guy is wearing a leather zipper mask and and somebody is holding a leash. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
He has some kind of humiliation fetish thing going on. I don't know what it is, but but that's it. Until the Democratic Party stops giving any of this any credence whatsoever, they are going to continue to be screwed. Because
So
if there are still people around who believe that this was a really great, energetic, and historic campaign, that Biden, this great politician, tragically at the last minute was forced to step down because everyone freaked out needlessly about one bad debate, and Kamala fearlessly stepped up to tackle the hardest campaign that's ever been run of having just 100 days to turn it around and save America, did the best she could and came in with incredible energy and just barely fell a little bit short. Like, if that's your narrative of what you think happened, then I mean, well, that's great for the Republican Party, I guess. But yeah, I mean, they're electorally doomed if that's what they think happened and the narrative that they're going to continue to pursue. And it's like, we just didn't quite do enough Brett Green and Coconut Tree stuff and Call Her Daddy podcasts to like get it over the finish line. Like, if that's what they think happened, then like, go for it, guys.
Well, okay, I want to revisit the Ben Shapiro with this rounded person who turns the chair around, because we both need a spiritual
Trish
pick me up.
that's so cringe.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world.
First
A beer or
question,
something.
can men get pregnant?
Men cannot get pregnant,
Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
So,
definitionally.
In other words, awesome, you've taken the bait.
I know, haha. You're not going to believe this. Have I got news for you?
Probably don't even know that I'm biologically not a man because of the chair and stuff. There's a lot of masculine stuff. I'm man-spreading, if you haven't noticed.
definitionally, okay.
You notice he
do
can't
men
even say
experience essay?
definitionally. I do think, and I said this during the Michael Knowles one, I think there's a possibility that some of the drugs these people take, whether just like regular psychiatric drugs or like all these hormones all the time, I think some of it may legitimately F with their brains, and they don't
you
work
think?
right, and they don't work right
think?
anymore. Because at least the ones who go on TV and talk out there and stuff seem to all be insane and dumb.
Well, yeah, and the creepy parents with the baby, the guy with the beard, who's like who should be apprehended and prosecuted in anybody's book. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitionally, okay. Do men experience SA? Sexual assault.
Sure.
Got it. What about the existence
Everything he says is, okay, you've walked further into my trap. You've now you've got one foot in the tar pit, one foot in the quicksand, one arm in the bear trap, and the other arm's about to be the bamboo spike is about to impale it. Aha, okay, I see.
of trans men?
What about the existence? Do you mean women who believe that they are men? What are we talking about here? Women experiencing gender dysphoria?
So my other question is, do you
His or her or whatever. The hand is now on the chin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the wheels
That's
are
what
turning.
men do in the.
Yes, the wheels are turning.
benefit from white supremacy in any way, shape, or form?
I'm going to need more specifics on what you mean by white
Well, here, let me
supremacy.
give it to you then.
Sure, please.
So I'm
Chair
a
is turning
transgender
around.
man.
Okay.
I've experienced
The chair has turned around. And now what we have is this person getting to what they always just wanted to get to. Look at my specialness. You see, the debate is over. Me.
on what you mean by white
Well, here, let me
supremacy.
give it to you then.
Sure, please.
So I'm a transgender man.
Okay.
I've experienced SA.
Okay.
And abortion rights affect me directly. So if we're talking about the American dream that you live,
So-
why don't I have access to that?
None of those things follow each other in any way.
No.
By the way, they're just
No.
like
And by the
words
way,
strung
the
together.
fact that you call it essay, cavalierly, it's essay, tells me that you and your pals throw that around a lot.
yeah.
Let's just save some time and just call it essay, the thing that we're all making up that we haven't experienced.
like
Because
people who
there's
put
no-
CW on like their social media posts,
What's that?
content warning.
Oh, really?
So it'd be like content warning, alcohol, like CW alcohol, CW violence, CW something bad happening to a pet, like any of their posts that might potentially trigger somebody.
Jesus.
Okay.
And abortion rights affect me directly. So if we're talking about the American dream that you live,
So-
why don't I have access to that? Because there's no legislation, what, in the history of America that legislates a man's body, so why does mine have to be legislated? I've got a vagina.
I'm not interested in what your genitalia are.
Clearly you are. I mean, it's all over everything you
no,
make, buddy. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you, but
I think you
it's-
can read
it's
on my
kind of an
face that I
obsession
radically
you
am
guys
not.
have.
I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. When we're talking about abortion,
No, I don't. I mean, you can present it here, but in most of the content that you have, you attack my community constantly. And you don't even realize guys like me exist who actually share a
Guys.
lot of similarities to you and everything, because I'm a married man of 20 years. Got
I
a wife.
recognize that you exist. I disagree with your
Right.
claim
So
that you
if
are a
I
male.
was sexually assaulted, right, and I didn't have access to that abortion kit,
Married man for 20 years. Oh!
do you believe that I should have carried that child to term because
What does
I
this
was
have to-
sexually assaulted?
I mean,
No, I just want to make sure that that's what you believe. Because as a transgender man, I have seen your side of the entire political debate, never ever having the conversation of what an American freedom is. Because why am I not allowed to live my American freedom as a man? You know, I mean, you get your choice as a man to live and free and all that.
You're really moving around terminology very wildly here.
And so are you, because that's the tactics you play in your game. And you've done it the entire time. You jump from one subject to the next. You speak so fast, and I know how you work. So how does it feel to have it in your face?
Oh, well, I mean,
Because I'm sick and tired of the shit that you have put against my community, especially black trans
No,
women.
they're doing
Snaps.
spirit
Clapping might be
fingers.
too loud for some people.
Because you constantly disregard all of our needs and then use us politically as a pawn when we're 1% of the population. Why not focus on the economy itself? All of us are struggling, and you want to focus on trans people.
This person
You want to
is a psychotic, which is why the person's been bouncing around to 80 things. It's like, I've experienced SA. Why don't you focus on the economy? That's all you talk about is me in attacking trans people, which is not true. You don't have to be a subscriber to know. The free Daily Wire
If
tells you.
anything, that would be maybe a better attack on like Matt Walsh, who does that topic more.
Sure.
Probably. But realistically, no, it's not all Ben Shapiro talks about. And more to the point, like, this person's not offering any through line of logic from one idea to the next. It's just how come I can't live your American dream because I had to have an abortion when I was sexually assaulted, and plus you experience white supremacy and black trans women and my community. Like, it's just insane gibberish.
Yes,
Do
it
they
is.
not realize that it is? And do the people snapping in the audience think this is some sort of clever argument because this person can't actually engage in a discussion? And like you say, it is all me, me, me. And that was very characteristic of the Michael Knowles thing, too.
Yep.
Is that Michael Knowles would like put forward an idea and then try and talk about real things. And they would just come up and say, that's I'm this, I'm that, as a me, then I
Right.
think XYZ in my experience. That's
Totally.
that's all they have.
Yes.
And we had this conversation recently because I was saying that I think there are literally just some people, and maybe psychiatric medications can do it to you too, who knows, but I think there are just some people who are incapable of understanding why anecdotes are not arguments.
Yes.
And I think that contributes to like the trans women in sports debate, because you can sit here and say like, no, statistically this doesn't work. Men are statistically better at sports. And they go, no, well, I know a girl who's really good at sports. Like I think they just honestly don't know why that doesn't answer the argument.
Yes, I completely agree. I was in 1997 when I was with Supple, and I know this bothers some people who are mad that I've talked about ex-girlfriends in the 90s. And we should read that letter at some point. There's a long letter. We did get the letter, by the way. You know what I'm talking about? From Matt? Was it from Matt or Mark? From somebody. A long Burn Barrel podcast note that had several grievances.
I don't know about grievances.
Well, with me.
It just
Oh no, it was a
feedback.
nice. No, it's not feedback. It was good. It was actually good, and actually somebody liked it. But the reason I bring up old girlfriends is that Alice is better than me. So that she doesn't bring on old boyfriends because she's already much better, and she's like, so that's why.
It's not really a contest.
It's not a contest. It's no contest.
It's not.
You're superior in this whole category. So that's why I get, as a groveling minion, get to special allowances. It would be cruel if you did it.
Yeah, but it's also not.
Well, so here we go. So anyway, and I had forgotten how great this was. We were down there at Trinity College when Supple, it was my girlfriend at the time, my one who was progressive for her time. It made me read Our Bodies Ourselves. She was a huge feminist, whatever. Shockingly unmarried, I think. Her three best friends in college who I had to meet, there were three of them. One was Asian, one was a black woman, and one was Persian.
Okay.
All three. And she met them all because Suzanne, who's a WASP, I'm sorry, I guess I said her name, Supple, who's a WASP, she felt that she was guilty for having money and being a WASP, so she joined every college group of every minority just to be, or it was like early women's guilt group to just do some self-flagellation. So we because, we used to have a couple of beers, and it's possible a relative of mine was with me, but we and I used to get in political arguments with Supple and her friends all the time. So we got into this argument about privilege and about racism happening. I said, it's 1997. The racism is gone. It's not like it used to be the old days, whatever. To which her friend, the black woman, said, you have no idea what it's like, and the way people look at me down the street, I can't get a cab, all the normal stuff that was BS. Now, she was a really beautiful woman who 2 different businesses asked her to be in their brochure. One was a big bank chain, and one was another business. So, and she came for money. She's going to Trinity College. Whatever, fine. Embrace the whole, okay, you get to be the victim for 4 years of college. The Asian girl, who was really a lovely person, she said, and they were all getting emotional, she said, you don't understand, I didn't get all the privileges of my white counterparts growing up because this is literally true, her parents owned a dry cleaning shop, so she had to go right from high school into the shop to work. Oh, my friends were out partying and doing this, and I had to go right to the shop, and I didn't have any of the, because culturally it wouldn't be understood, and I'm expected to do well here because I'm Asian. So then she goes to the Iranian person who's Persian, who moved here when the Shah was overthrown. Her father's a doctor or something. They have big money. She moved to Westwood, Mass., which is a rich town. This woman was about 5'10", in an absolutely gorgeous 10. If I can find a picture, I'll show you. She was gorgeous. She had this Persian hair, which was long, thick, black, and silky. She was a perfect physical specimen.
Okay.
And she also, by the way, she grew up as a 2-year-old came over here. And so she said, you don't understand, I'm Iranian. And suddenly she's saying she's Iranian. This is a woman who had no accent.
Okay.
But she developed one to show how badly she was. She says, you don't understand, I'm Iranian. I get treated like dog. You speak perfect English. You grew up. Nobody would have known you're Iranian or anything else had you not told them. All anybody sees you as, their initial stun grenade is that you're really beautiful, and you are rich and a beautiful American with sensationally good hair. But even she had to get in on it, and like instead of having any argument, like you were saying, I got treated like dog. You know.
No, it can't be a conversation about like policy,
Right.
Or, you know, what the facts are of the situation of, you know, can people of different races get ahead in America, or is there some policy unfairness that impacts black people more than white people that we should take a look at? There's no real conversation about anything. It's all like, oh, my lived experience, this, that, like everything's just a pile of anecdotes. Every story.
Right.
And that's why, though, they feel the need to make things up all the time. Like why when Trump was elected, because that's how they think an argument is constructed, is that I was attacked on the subway because I wear a hijab. There was one of those in Massachusetts.
Now I can take it off because Trump won.
Right.
Well, and also, I understand historically there has been a Klan, there has been racism, there has been also the Chinese exclusion. That's fine. But all of these people operated between Connecticut and Massachusetts at the time.
Well,
and there's no constituency of anti-beautiful Persian women out there who are looking to treat them like dog. It's just that, like, there's nobody here doing that whatsoever.
Well, yeah, but that's, I mean, it's the same thing like a Jussie Smollett thing. It's just obviously, you know, these women weren't necessarily like fabricating incidents, but it comes from the same impulse because the left feels the need to prove everything by this happened to me and this is my lived experience. Not by actually like looking at anything that happens in broader society and everything's like a story of one thing that happened to one person and this proves that my worldview is correct.
Right, and
we have to go find one case of something happening.
Right, and it's reinforced with, okay, if you believe my truth, I promise to believe your truth, okay?
Right.
I'll believe that you working in the dry cleaning was like the Chinese Exclusion Act if you believe I was treated like dog.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Or, I mean, in the case of it's some things like believe all women, which is why we ended up with huge hoaxes getting published in major magazines in the United States of completely made up stories of rapes that never happened, featuring main characters in the stories that didn't even exist, and the reporter didn't fact check a single freaking thing because it's not allowed to fact check rape victims because you have to believe all women. Like, that's how this stuff ends up, because once again, like, this is a question of believing someone's truth. So there's no questioning any of it because anything anybody says has to just go.
Yeah, and I think that's totally
which is fine for like made up, you know, women talking in a college dorm about made up things, but it's not fine for actually like running your society and criminal justice and social policy and all these other things. Like you do, you know, how you organize your sports leagues and your locker rooms. Like, it's just, this is not a realistic way to run a society. Well, it's just everybody gets to believe their own thing because some of us happen to live here and we have a shared reality.
And it's so true. It's so true. In another way to show your fealty towards this system of make-believe is to throw awkwardness into an otherwise elegant situation, which is what we saw last night, which we see way too often. But it's like, it's this wink. I'm going to say something ridiculous. We're all going to pretend it's a real thing here. And then we can drink good vodka and do cocaine and all have unprotected sex later.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land. We honor and pay our respects to indigenous communities here and around the world.
I do like how they say the traditional caretakers of this water and land. In other words, like, they would have not had the fire. They were a little better than us. And see, we griped it from them. And then we were bad at fires because we were mean.
And I love the indigenous people here and around the world because it starts to become like some completely meaningless thing. Well, like, are you guys for indigenous people everywhere? Should like England only be run by the indigenous people? or
Right.
is that exclusive to America? Like, because they're not for indigenous people everywhere. And by the way, ethnic countries is not necessarily the best way to run things in the long term.
I would think so.
So I'm not advocating for that, but the like logic of what that means when you take that to its natural conclusion, like we support the indigenous communities around the world. Like what indigenous communities? Where? All indigenous community? All indigenous people
Right.
everywhere?
Right. No, it's gross. See, here's Zoe Zaldana, who I think is a trash. I don't know.
Saldana,
I don't know
yeah.
anything about her. I think she's trash.
Country in 1961.
Hold on.
My grandmother came to this country in 1961. I am a proud child of immigrant parents with dreams and dignity and hardworking hands, and I am the first American of Dominican origin to accept an Academy Award, and I know I will not be the last. I hope the fact that I'm getting an award for a role where I got to sing and speak in Spanish. My grandmother, if she were here, she would be so delighted. This is for my grandmother, Argentina Cece. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Which is another way of saying, despite being treated like dog, I am here, standing on the backs of it. By the way, if you're of Spanish descent and you look like her, I get the feeling you have some explaining to do as well.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that yeah. I mean, yeah, you can't do the whatever, the follow your roots or what's it called?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Don't do it. To stay away from Henry
Like
Louis
when-
Gates, lady. Let me tell you that because
like Sonny Hostin found out she was a slave owner.
you're
too.
going straight conquistador, and it's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What do you think she's gonna find out?
Of course.
Her last name's Cortez.
It's
like,
just-
I mean, it's silly. It's silly to count things this way, like they do. Like you're literally one of the least oppressed people on planet Earth, and even if we started to trace back your lineage, we would not find a ton of oppression. I'm assuming. Like,
No, yeah. And
but-
can we? Go ahead. Finish with that.
But this like weird game of like, oh, I'm the first person of Dominican descent. I'm the first like vegan redhead to accept an Academy Award. Like, what are we doing? Plus, the way that they're so anxious to cut off like every technical award or any award that's accepted by somebody who's not like an A-list celebrity, because they just want to get to like, and then they let her go on forever in freaking Spanish about her grandmother or whatever. And you know, it's some people's like biggest night of their entire lives to just be there and be considered for like sound mix. I know nobody wants to watch the sound mixing guys accept an award, but they were like Johnny on the spot with the music button when it came to getting those guys off the stage. Like,
But,
geez.
yeah, and also like I'm the first Dominican. Like, no, what you are is you're just another spoiled American girl who's getting another trophy. That's what you are. And all of you people who were saying, I'm a historic... No, you're not. You're just another spoiled American girl who's...
Which automatically makes you one of the luckiest people who's
Well, yes.
ever been alive. Is
Exactly.
that we're like all here together being super lucky to be here. It's like kind of just be happy. It's amazing. But the Academy Award, it was so self-indulgent. It was so absurd.
No, it always gross.
I went to bed like pretty early. I think. I
Michelle
didn't stay up.
Wu is going in front of Congress Wednesday. I think that's fantastic.
I'm so excited for this.
She's doubled down on loving wishing the best for the stabber.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely amazing that she said it. We'll see what happens that she when she gets in front of Congress. She's going to be... I mean, she can speak woke, so the left is going to like her, but if that's what they want to do...
Well, yeah, but once again, she's in a bubble where everyone thinks she's awesome. And same with Maura Healey, same with all these people. Like, they think that everything they do is awesome and that this stuff is really popular because they've never bothered to find out that other people in America, like, think she's an absolute nut job.
All right, last piece of info. Trump has suspended all U.S. military aid to Ukraine, including current weapons shipments. So you could certainly see that it would be coming. Now, they're getting the money and they're getting stuff from elsewhere. If I were Zelensky, I would be making a move here. And this is where I'm going to be a coward on this issue.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want this to end with the Russians
With no more Ukraine.
right barreling over Ukraine
Right.
and executing everybody and committing mass SA.
Yeah, I don't like. I don't think most people want that. I think you saw like this whole thing with helping Ukraine to the extent that we can in this war has always been quite popular in the United States. I think that a lot of people feel that it's gone on a long time now, and like many issues, I think the American people's actual positions are pretty nuanced, right?
Yes.
Like, a lot of times the pollsters and the pundits don't give people credit. They're like, no, people are pro-Ukraine. No, they're anti-Ukraine, because that's the viewpoints they have experience with in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Either you're anti everything to do with Ukraine or you're not. But I think most people are like, yeah, Ukraine's pretty good. Zelensky's probably pretty good. Like, seems brave. They've worked really hard. Russia was supposed to walk all over them. I'm glad we helped out. Like, but now, like, we are going to have to end this war at some point. Because
Right.
I don't want to send my kid to go overthrow Putin in Moscow or something. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good. So I think that I think once again with Trump, this is likely to be a negotiating tactic and not an end all be all policy.
He's not afraid to do it though. He's just like he's doing the sanctions. He said it's too late for like Mexico to get out of the sanctions now. Nope, too late.
The tariffs, you mean?
Tariffs, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, tariffs. All right, so let us go to the Chat Chat.
Yeah, chat it is.
Hey, Tom, it's Michael in Cincinnati.
Hey, Michael.
Hey.
As a man, I have to call you out.
What?
How the hell have you not seen Hoosiers?
Yeah.
It's the greatest sports movie of all time.
I remember, let me tell you, I remember it being on in the late 80s or right around 1990. I was still in high school, I think. And just turning it, I don't know what my problem was with it. I like Hackman. I like the guy I said yesterday, Dennis Hopper. I'm sure it's good. To me, the greatest, I grew up, my greatest sports movie was The Natural. So that was the one. Have you seen The Natural, Alice?
Mm-mm.
That's, and then I saw Bull Durham. So I was a baseball guy, baseball movies I was drawn to. Like, I don't even think I ever saw Rudy before. But I admit now that I probably should see Hoosiers. Yeah, I probably should see Hoosiers.
It's the greatest sports movie of all time. You gotta watch it right now.
I will watch
Stop what you're doing. Rent it from Netflix or Amazon Prime and watch the whole thing.
I will.
Again, it's the greatest sports movie of all time.
Oh, that's...
Gene Hackman is the best American actor. You have to watch it.
I will.
Once you're done, you need to do just an episode on this movie.
Really?
Okay.
Please, as a man, I'm calling you out. You have to watch Hoosiers. Thanks again. Love your show. Bye.
Thank you. It's Michael, right? In Cincinnati?
Mm-hmm.
He was Michael, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hey, Tom, it's Michael in Cincinnati.
Okay, I'm putting it in there forever. By the way, we like the Cincinnati chili. I will check that out. There are a few movies that first of all, I haven't seen anything in the last 20 years. Almost nothing. But there's a few movies that I've never seen. I've never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey.
You wouldn't like that.
No, I don't think I would.
I like it, but you would not like it.
I haven't seen The Shining, which I've somehow missed.
You also wouldn't like that.
I don't. Yeah, it's not really my thing. And I didn't love Animal House, but that's a little bit before my time. You know, they had movies that worked off of Animal House since then. So I think those are the three big ones. Is there another one that I haven't seen, Alice?
You haven't seen Animal House, or you just don't like it?
No, I don't like it. I
Okay.
did say that. I did see that. I don't think it's great. But okay, Hoosiers. I'm gonna watch Hoosiers this week. I'm sure we have it somewhere, or the ability to have it somewhere.
Extend my deepest.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Cheswick.
I would like to extend my deepest condolences to the Oswald family for the death of their son, Lee Harvey, and the Tsarnaev family for the death of Speed Bump.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to do that. It's the same thing.
Why not?
How would you say that? And she said again today, Michelle Wu said again today, that no, we mourn every life. You mourn every life? And also, she also said something about like that we also think about the family of the police officers. And no, that's what happened. No, you know what happened? Is that the guy who was shot, the guy who was killed by the cop in Boston?
Yeah.
People don't know, the psycho with a knife ran into a Chick-fil-A, wanted to start stabbing people, an off-duty cop was in there, he shot him. The family of the guy with the knife has come out, has talked to the press, and apologized to the cop and the people in the restaurant, saying that couldn't have been easy to deal with. It's like, so they're doing the right thing, and it's their kid who's dead. They didn't even give props to their own kid.
Mm-hmm. What I think, and I think a lot of people know this, especially if you've had like any family member who's like had problems and stuff, is it probably, if that's your family member who's the crazy person stabbing people, you probably have dealt with some crap from that family member at some point, and you probably know. And the only reason I think sometimes in these cases the family pops up out of nowhere and starts like suing police departments is because they're like grifters who hadn't been in contact with their kid for like 10 years. It's
exactly.
Like what
like the guy Penny, Daniel Penny, or is he he's
was
the guy who killed
Neely,
the other guy?
Neely. Is that guy he unfortunately killed, But yeah, like the family wasn't helping their homeless, insane, drug-addicted relative for like decades, and then all of a sudden he dies, and they all show up and want a payday. Like,
well, a lot of times it'd be like Ben Crump, grifting lawyers will gas up the family and get him onto it.
But yeah, an honest.
Just think George Floyd's family got like millions of dollars from the city.
Yeah. Golden coffin.
Unbelievable. What a day.
So, like,
hey, Justin.
A month ago, I get a call from somebody I previously worked at Walmart with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it wasn't a call. Maybe it was on Messenger. The ins and outs are not the important. The main thing is the bare bones of it all. Saying, oh, this person you knew, that you were friends with at Walmart. They died of cancer.
Oof.
And then they proceed to tell me other people that I know and stuff.
Damn, you're kind of young to have a bunch of people around. Well, if you worked at Walmart, there's all different ages.
From Walmart, and they go, oh, this person's mom. Oh yeah, she took her life.
Oof.
And then a few days later, this other lady I knew took her life out of being grief-stricken, hung herself in a closet.
That is tough stuff, Justin.
So, yeah, I just, it was hard for me to just take that all in, and,
of course.
And stuff going on with my mom.
Sorry, man.
I don't know. I'm just, there's a dark place, but I'm not going there.
Good.
No, not on my way.
Good. Sorry you're going through that stuff. It sounds absolutely awful, and I'm sorry your mom is having trouble now. I do know how that is. Certainly with health stuff. My mother was very sick for a long time, and I just saw the ravages of what it did to her. And I had it better than most people, but my parents died before I was 40. Both of them were gone, and it sucks. So I hope nobody else dies, and that your mom is just fine. But life gets you. You get torpedoed and T-boned by stuff out of the blue. It is tough. I worked with a guy in a hotel who his mother and father died within the year, and then he lost a brother, and he was back then. He was only like 35. Jeez. That's right. And another guy we worked with, who was an angel. Like this guy we worked with was just an angel. Had been in alcohol recovery forever. Had a bad week and just drank himself to death. And this guy I worked with found him. It's like, Man, it's just, yeah, like these things happen. It is awful. What a macabre. I'm sorry to bring everybody down. But, yeah, Justin, absolutely. Be speaking to people. Don't go into the darkness, and don't try to do anything that's going to be self-destructive. Because you're not. Other people have been through this, so there's a roadmap out of this if you're going through something bad.
Tom, you and I
Yes,
are
sir.
definitely known for our bits. I mean, people call us out all the time
Yep.
for the shenanigans, but we're definitely not even close to the level of Michelle Wu. I mean, what was that about the other night? Talk about bits. Talk about arm waving. I mean, that lady takes the cake. What a complete psychopath. And I just don't understand how the people in the city of Boston haven't kicked her out of office yet.
I don't know.
She's a complete moron.
I know. No, I knew her when she was a city councilor, and she would come into the Herald. And what were my thoughts about her, Alice? A to Z.
You thought she was attractive.
Correct. That was it. That was it. But yeah, I mean, this is when you hire radical.
Tom Shattuck's politics takes are easy to guess.
Yes, but when you hire radical, psychotic people who hide their psychosis under pretty smiles and compassionate philosophies and ideologies, then the underbelly, the demon, is the person who takes the wheel of the city, state, or country, and then you're in deep bleep because it's no bueno.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Thank you for the great chat messages. Glad everyone is here and listening on Patreon. If you want to join on Patreon and talk to us in the chat there, you can do so at patreon.com/burnbarrel. If you like listening for free, because who doesn't like things that are free? burnbarrelpodcast.com. You can leave chat messages. You can find links to all the places to listen: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc.